Hello and welcome back to the College Football Corner, brought to you by the New York Sports Machine. Kevin Walsh alongside Jersey Joe Archino. Week one of the college football season has come and gone. I'm going to start things off today with the number one ranked defending champs, Ohio State. Urban Meyer's made his decision. It's Cardale Jones over JT Barrett. Has he made the right call here?
You know, Urban Meyer's the best coach in college football. I think he's earned the right not to be second-guessed. I do prefer JT's skill set a little bit more, but again, how could you argue with what Cardale did last night? His arm is so explosive. He runs people over with how big he is and his size. And you saw the case last night. He played very well.
Now, the other thing that stood out in that game, Ezekiel Elliott, who people feel is going to make a run at this Heisman, first play, runs an 80-yard touchdown, but only saw 4 total carries in that first half. Do you think moving forward we will see Elliott have much more touches in these important games?
Absolutely. If there's anything that I wasn't worried about last year and this year with the Buckeyes, it's their play calling on offense. Now, Tom Herman is gone, who did a fantastic job there last year, but they're not going to skip a beat this year. Virginia Tech really likes to throw a lot of the defenders at them, so I think the game plan, it was just a little mismatch, but I wouldn't worry about seeing Ezekiel Elliott get a ton of carries this season.
Now, things were smooth sailing for the Buckeyes. Not so much, though, for TCU. Boykin did not really seem to miss a beat. 338 total yards offense, rushing touchdown, throwing touchdown. But they only put up 23 points. Do you see reason for concern here with this TCU team?
You know, I really don't. I really like the maturity and the poise we saw in Trevon Boykin's game. You watch him take command of that huddle. Plays were taking a little bit of time to come into him, but he really took sharp command of that offense. He looked very poised with his teammates, getting the plays in, driving them. And that's a tough first game to have on the road against Minnesota. I think it keeps them honest and it keeps them focused. For a first game, I'll take it.
Now we look to number 3, Alabama, who had maybe the most impressive win of any team in week one, and they did it behind what seemed to be their usual winning formula, a stud running back and a great defense. We'll start with Derrick Henry, who had for 144 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Is this kid the real deal?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think you look at the lineage. I mean, you have Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy. Derrick Henry fits that mold so well. In Alabama, they need these running backs because they elevate a conservative quarterback. Jay Coker, for all we know, right now looks like he fits the bill. Another conservative quarterback for Alabama. But the defense, combined with a stud like Derrick Henry, will elevate his game and hopefully bring Alabama back where they want to be.
And for them to get back to that point, it is going to be behind that defense as well. Last year, one of only 2 finishes outside of the top 10 for Nick Saban's defenses. Do you think that this team is going to right the ship and get them back to that elite defense type?
You know, I think they do. I think when you look at the recruiting and you look at the way that things have kind of developed during training camp, I have faith. Kirby Smart is as good as it comes, and we see you always struggle running the ball against Alabama. I've only seen one guy do it. It's been Gus Malzahn. He's really been the only guy you've seen his team consistently be able to run the ball against Alabama and Kirby Smart. We saw Wisconsin could get nothing on the ground. I think it's going to be another big year for Alabama and Kirby Smart and his defensive team.
Now, another team that really impressed week one, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, beat Texas easily 38-3, and they do it with their new quarterback, Malik Zaire. 313 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 19 of 22. Possibly the best quarterback performance of week one. Is this kid going to be enough to potentially get Notre Dame to a playoff spot?
Look, he really was a stud. I mean, he was fantastic. I think when you look at him, he's a dual-threat guy, and he throws the ball very well. His poise and his patience are fantastic. And I think for Notre Dame last season, it was defined by turnovers with Everett Golson. You look at Malik Zaire, how patient he is in the pocket. He works the field, and he makes smart throws. He's efficient with his throws as well. I think it's a very welcome change, and I think he's going to have a very big year for the Irish.
And now we're going to give a little credit to a true freshman in Josh Rosen. The Heisman Award seemed to be a little bit of a veterans award, and then Johnny Manziel and Jameis Winston come in as redshirt freshmen. But we now have a true freshman here in Rosen who looks like he's going to make a serious push for this Heisman. How legit is this kid?
My goodness, it's funny. I was talking to a friend of the show, Joe D from CBS Sports, and some of his sources told him that this is the best young quarterback they've ever seen. Some said this is the next Andrew Luck. He'll be on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. And it's hard to argue with what the kid did. I mean, 28 of 35, 3 touchdowns. He was almost flawless in this one. Watching him progress this season, I think we're going to see something truly special.
Now, that is some very, very high praise. But we know, as analysts, we can't just sit back and let week 1 be enough. We got to look ahead to week 2. And there's a game that really stands out on this schedule. 5-7, Michigan State against Oregon. Jersey Joe, let me know, who do you have in this matchup?
You know, it's a difficult one. I got to go with the Ducks right off the bat. I am worried about the defensive side of the ball for them. Giving up 42 points in their first matchup against Eastern Washington, big concern. But as you saw, their offense does not skip a beat. Vernon Adams Jr. looks like he just takes command right away. There's a reason he won the job there in 2 weeks. Mark D'Antonio, again, we saw last year, if it wasn't for Marcus Mariota's just one of the defining moments of his college career, they almost walk away with a win here. But I think you look at Oregon's offense at the end of the day, their spacing and their speed, I think it's just too much. It was too much last year. It'll be too much this year.
I think we're going to be on the same page with this one. When you look at Oregon's offense, it's just almost too perfect, to put it into words. And Connor Cook didn't look too sharp week 1 for Michigan State, and I do think that offense is just going to be too much for Michigan State and Cook to handle. Now, the second game that really stands out here is going to be LSU and Mississippi State. Now, LSU hasn't even played a game yet. There was a little weather issue that canceled their week 1. Mississippi State and Dak Prescott looked really impressive in their week 1 matchup. Who do you like here in this game?
Interesting one, and I think that's a great point. A lot of people didn't mention LSU, their game got canceled, so that's very interesting off the bat, but they're such a heavy run team. I love Leonard Fournette. He's a fantastic back, but they've got nothing at quarterback. They had nothing at quarterback last year, and it's the same story this year. Dak Prescott and Dan Mullen, I think their combination worked very well last year. Dak Prescott's obviously got to become a much better, effective, a consistent passer, and obviously with Dan Mullen, what he's done building offenses during his career, I think you will see the improvement in Dak Prescott's game. They're home here, so I got them winning here.
Now, I'm assuming that as the season progresses, there will be a few more disagreements. But again, on the same page, I really like Mississippi State in this one because I really think that Dak Prescott might emerge as potentially the best quarterback in the SEC, one of the more seasoned QBs in that conference. And I think that people are going to see Dak Prescott emerge as a Heisman caliber quarterback throughout the season. Really do like Leonard Fournette, but I don't think that is enough to beat Mississippi State at home. And that is all the time that we have here. Kevin Walsh, Jersey Joe Archino, the College Football Corner is back in action, brought to you by the New York Sports Machine. We'll see you guys next time.